Hey everybody, so this is my son's old 20-inch Trek Precaliber mountain bike. He has since outgrown this bike, but my daughter, who's on the verge of turning 6, is ready to size up. So you can see that it's in pretty good condition. It's had its fair share of crashes, and it could just use a couple of parts to get it back into proper working condition. So you can see here we kind of have a broken barrel adjuster, and the brake levers are pretty scuffed up. The grips are kind of in poor condition, so we're going to probably replace those as well. And then we're probably just going to recable the entire bike, get the brakes working nice and smooth again, make sure the gears are shifting, make sure the drivetrain's lubed, and we might do a new set of tires on here, something a little bit wider and more trail oriented. And then lastly, something my wife and I talked about, we never pushed the color pink on her, but you know, she's a 5-year-old girl, she likes what she likes, and pink is her favorite color. So I think what we're actually going to do is strip the entire bike down, paint it pink, and then rebuild it with all the new parts, and hopefully it'll look like a brand new bike when we're done with it. All right, so it's been a few days. I got the frame painted, got the clear coat on and let it cure. And I have to say that this is the best paint job that I've ever done on a bike. I've painted probably 9 or 10 frames over the course of my life, but this is by far the best result that I've ever gotten. And I think it all comes down to the 2K clear coat that I used. And if you're curious about the process of painting this frame, I actually did a whole separate video that'll be linked down in the description. And it goes into more detail on the products that we used and the steps that we took to get this result. But anyways, my goodness, look at that. Really, I mean, I'm not going to say factory finish, but it looks pretty good. The Trek decals, I and my wife used a Cricut cutting machine for just vinyl decals, clear coated over that. Actually modified the Precaliber logo a little bit. I used a more kid-friendly font and just kind of adjusted the graphics a little bit. But overall, I would believe that this is a factory Trek kids bike. Anyways, let's get this thing built up. Okay, so this is supposed to be a budget makeover, but the bike was getting a little bit older. Some of the parts were wearing out a little bit, so here's what I got. Got a new Shimano grip shift. This is the Revo shift. It's a 6-speed. Really cheap, but I think it'll go a long way to help the bike feel a little bit newer. So I went ahead and just got some cheapo V-brake levers. Now these aren't kid-specific ones, so if they end up being like way too long of a reach, even with the reach adjustment all the way in, then I might have to go back to something like these levers. But these were on the order of like 10 bucks for the pair. And then also just got a new pair of grips. These will definitely make the bike feel like a lot newer. Again, these were just a few bucks. And then the biggest splurge for the bike are these V Crown Gem 20 by 2.25 inch mountain bike tires. Now, if you look around for kids mountain bikes, a lot of the sort of, you know, higher end 20-inch kids mountain bikes will come with these tires. It really just gives the bike kind of like a premium look. It's more like a legitimate mountain bike tire. Nice tread. Of course, tan wall, nice and wide as well. So these were on the order of 40 bucks a piece, so kind of steep. You definitely don't have to go this route, but that was the one splurge for this bike. The fork, I really wanted to find like a suspension corrected rigid fork for this 20-inch bike, but nobody makes them. If anybody knows of something that'll work for this bike that's rigid, that has V-brakes and quick release, let me know down in the comments. But everything that I found has an axle to crown that's much shorter. And so I didn't want to get one of those like mini velo forks and have the front end of the bike really low. So for the time being, all I did was remove the decals from the stock fork and actually just gave all the painted portions a nice polish. It still weighs a ton, but it actually looks kind of nice, and it'll match the aesthetic of the new paint. deal with these cables a little bit later. Oh my gosh, that looks so cool. It's not disc brake, but still looks pretty good. All right, well, there you have it, a budget makeover on this 20-inch Trek Precaliber that we're planning to give to my daughter for her 6th birthday. Now, obviously, she's not going to appreciate all the work that went into this, but she will appreciate the paint color. And in parallel, my wife was actually working on a special surprise for this bike as well. Again, we did not push her into liking unicorns and the color pink, but nonetheless, unicorns are a staple in our household, and this bag, in my opinion, kind of ties it all together. If you have questions about any part of this rebuild or the parts that we selected for this bike, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. We'll do our best to get back to as many as we can. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see you next time.